novel in 6 chapters, The Mystery of the Depths. Introduction. At the edge of the endless ocean expanses, where the blue waters shimmer under the rays of the setting sun, and the sea breeze carries the echo of long-forgotten legends, our story begins. In a world where every wave may hide a secret, and every gust of wind the whisper of the ancients, an unknown story awaits its unveiling. Among sailors and explorers, rumors circulate about the Neptune's Wanderer, a vessel that vanished without a trace in waters filled with myths and mysteries. This mysterious case will become central to our narrative, leading us through storms and the silence of ocean depths to the truth hidden beneath the waves. While the world is occupied with daily hustle and bustle, there are those whose lives are an endless search and exploration of the unknown. One such seeker, Jake McLaren, an experienced detective with a special interest in maritime mysteries, cannot ignore the disappearance of the Neptune's Wanderer. His habit of solving the most intricate cases pushes him to take on this case, despite the warnings of colleagues and the mystical reputation of the vessel. On the other side of the world, in the walls of antiquarian shops and on the dusty shelves of university libraries, Emily Tempest, a passionate marine archaeologist, searches for keys to ancient civilizations, sunken cities, and forgotten treasures. Her thirst for discoveries and relentless drive for knowledge about the world of underwater archaeology inevitably lead her to the legend of the Neptune's Wanderer. Convinced that the vessel's disappearance is linked to an ancient artifact she recently discovered, Emily decides to participate in the investigation. When Jake and Emily's paths cross, they realize that they are united not only by the drive to solve the mystery of the vessel's disappearance, but also by a thirst for adventure and an irresistible desire to uncover the secrets hidden in the depths of the sea. Together, they embark on a journey full of dangers and discoveries, where each piece of a map and each ancient artifact could be the key to solving the puzzle. In this world, where the boundaries between science and magic are blurred, where every storm could be not just a natural phenomenon but a sign, and every underwater find a part of a greater mystery, Jake and Emily must rely not only on their intellect and intuition but also on mutual trust. With each step, they dive deeper into the whirlpool of maritime legends and archaeological findings that may change their understanding of the world. On their path, they face not only mysterious symbols and forgotten ruins but also forces that would prefer some secrets to remain uncovered. Mysterious adversaries and unexpected allies meet them at every turn, making their mission even more dangerous and exciting. The story of Jake and Emily is not just a search for answers about the Neptune's Wanderer, it's a journey to themselves, a test of their characters, beliefs, and the ability to face the unknown. Together, they discover that every discovery carries not only knowledge about the past but also questions about the future, where the boundaries between the possible and the impossible become increasingly hazy. So begins their story, a bold dive into uncharted depths, where each find could be the key to an ancient mystery or awaken dormant forces capable of bestowing incredible discoveries or unleashing unpredictable catastrophes. In a world where the ocean depths hide more than just lost ships and sunken treasures, Jake and Emily face the greatest adventure of their lives, a path filled with trials, romance, and perhaps the most astonishing discoveries of their lives. Chapter 1: The Mysterious Disappearance. At dawn, when the first rays of the sun barely touched the calm surface of the ocean, creating a play of light and shadow on its endless waters, the world was faced with news that soon enveloped the entire globe. The Neptune's Wanderer, a vessel equipped with the latest achievements in marine science and technology, designed to explore the mysteries of the ocean, disappeared without a trace in one of the most unexplored regions of the world's oceans. It was a morning when Jake McLaren, sitting at his desk amid piles of maps and maritime journals, first learned of the ship's disappearance. The news of the mysterious disappearance immediately caught his attention. The Neptune's Wanderer was not an ordinary research vessel. Its disappearance meant something more than just a maritime accident. It was a mystery that Jake couldn't ignore. At the same time, in a secluded office, Surrounded by ancient maritime maps and artifacts, Emily Tempest, a young yet renowned marine archaeologist, also encountered news of the Neptune's wanderer. She instantly realized that the ship's disappearance might be linked to her recent discoveries about an ancient maritime civilization, spoken of only in legends. Both Jake and Emily were consumed by the mystery. Each, guided by their own motives and convictions, began their investigation. Jake turned to his contacts among maritime researchers and old sailors, hoping to find any clue that could indicate the location of the Neptune's wanderer. He analyzed weather reports, satellite monitoring records, and even old maritime charts, searching for anomalies or unclear patterns that could provide him with the key to the mystery. Emily, on the other hand, delved into studying ancient texts and artifacts that could indicate a connection between the ship's disappearance and legendary maritime civilizations. Her research led her to discover strange coincidences between the route of the Neptune's wanderer and ancient myths about lost islands and underwater cities guarded by powerful forces. As Jake and Emily continued their independent searches, they did not know that their paths would soon cross, uniting them in a common quest to uncover one of the greatest mysteries of modern times. Driven by different goals, but united by a shared mystery, they did not suspect that each held a piece of the puzzle that could shed light on the disappearance of the Neptune's wanderer. Jake, analyzing the last coordinates of the ship, discovered an anomaly in the satellite images, a temporary distortion that coincided with the moment of disappearance. This discovery led him to hypothesize about an unknown natural phenomenon or, perhaps, something more mysterious that could explain the sudden disappearance. At the same time, Emily, studying ancient texts, found references to the sunken temple which, according to legends, protected the entrance to a lost underwater world. Connecting these legends with the route of the Neptune's wanderer, she concluded that the ship might have encountered this ancient temple at the moment of disappearance. Their independent research led Jake and Emily to the same spot on the map, to an uncharted area of the ocean where the depths hid more than might appear at first glance. Realizing that further investigation would require them to combine their knowledge and resources, they decided to meet. Their first meeting was filled with caution and skepticism. Jake, accustomed to relying on facts and logic, had difficulty accepting Emily's archaeological and mythological theories. At the same time, Emily, confident in the significance of her archaeological finds, saw Jake as overly narrow-minded. However, a common goal and mutual interest in solving the mystery of the Neptune's wanderer compelled them to overcome their initial disagreements. Agreeing to work together, they began planning an expedition to the designated ocean area. Preparing for the journey required meticulous planning and resource gathering, but the sharpness of the upcoming adventure and the opportunity to face the unknown inspired them. They understood that they were on the verge of discoveries that could not only reveal the mystery of the Neptune's wanderer's disappearance, but also change humanity's understanding of the world in which it lives. Thus began their joint journey, full of dangers, discoveries, and possibly incredible revelations about ancient civilizations and mysterious phenomena hidden in the depths of the sea. Armed with modern equipment for underwater research and archives of ancient manuscripts, Jake and Emily embarked on an expedition that promised to be decisive in their search. Before setting sail, they assembled a team of like-minded individuals, experienced sailors, scientists, and specialists in underwater navigation. Each team member was inspired by the upcoming adventure and the opportunity to become part of history. But none of them could foresee the challenges they would face. Their ship, the Seeker, was equipped with the latest achievements in marine research. Amidst the hum of engines and the noise of waves, they left the port, heading for the coordinates where the Neptune's wanderer was last spotted. The journey through open waters was calm, but the closer they got to their destination, the more tense the atmosphere on board became. As they approached the disappearance zone of the ship, the ocean began to exhibit its unpredictable nature. Strange currents, sudden storms, and unusual sounds from the depths, all of this only intensified the feeling that they were on the right path. Despite the obstacles, the team continued to move forward until one night, when the darkness of the ocean merged with the celestial expanse, they stumbled upon their first clue. Using an underwater drone, they discovered unusual ruins on the seabed, which did not match any known maps or records. This discovery inspired the team to new feats. Jake and Emily, supported by their confidence in the forthcoming discovery, organized a dive to the ruins. What they found in the depths exceeded all their expectations: ancient structures that apparently were part of a sunken city. With each artifact discovered and each runic symbol read, the mosaic of history began to take shape. However, with each answer, new questions arose. How was this sunken city related to the disappearance of the Neptune's wanderer? What secrets did this ancient world hide? And most importantly, were they ready to face the truth that could change their understanding of reality? As they delved deeper into the mysteries of the ancient city, Jake and Emily began to uncover a complex history embodied in stone and corals. Ruined temples and abandoned plazas told of a great civilization that once thrived here, in the depths of the sea. With each artifact found, each inscription deciphered, they were getting closer to the solution, but at the same time, they felt the shadows gathering around them. Unexpectedly, they discovered an ancient altar, adorned with exquisite carvings and strange symbols that glowed under the beams of their flashlights, as if alive. It was here that they stumbled upon the first clue directly pointing to the connection between the ancient civilization and the Neptune's wanderer. On the altar lay a strange metal plate, on which coordinates and an unintelligible code were engraved. This discovery made their hearts beat faster. Perhaps they had found the key to the main mystery. But suddenly, their research was interrupted. The underwater currents became stronger, and strange shadows appeared in the water. It seemed as if the ocean itself was trying to hinder them. When they tried to return to the seeker, their path was blocked by a huge wall of water. They realized they had encountered something much larger and more powerful than they had anticipated. It was not just a natural phenomenon, it was a warning. Returning to the ship, the team tried to regain their strength and analyze the collected data. However, something strange happened at night. Their equipment started to malfunction, and a series of unexplained signals passed through the radars. It was like a message, but its source remained unknown. Jake and Emily realized that they were facing not just the task of searching for a missing ship. They had encountered an ancient mystery, forces that had long rested on the ocean floor, and which perhaps did not wish to be discovered. However, their resolve did not waver. Driven by a thirst for discoveries and a determination to unravel the mystery of the Neptune's wanderer, they prepared for the next stage of their journey, unaware of what lay ahead. Their exploration was just beginning, and the ocean seemed to hold many more mysteries, ready to be uncovered. Chapter 2: The Turning Point. After weeks of intense research and fruitless attempts to find answers, Jake and Emily finally met face to face in a secluded seaside tavern on the ocean shore. This place, filled with tales of lost ships and maritime adventures, seemed perfect for their first meeting. The air was saturated with the salty scent of the sea, and the walls were adorned with maps and nautical trophies, each capable of telling its own unique story. Jake, with his analytical mind and penchant for logical reasoning, was initially skeptical of Emily's theories based on ancient myths and archaeological findings. However, as they began to exchange information, it became evident that each of them held a piece of the puzzle necessary to unravel the mystery of the Neptune's wanderer. Emily shared her discoveries about ancient civilizations, mythical temples, and artifacts found in unusual places around the world, which could point to the existence of an ancient and powerful source of energy or knowledge. She spoke with such conviction and passion that even the skeptical Jake couldn't remain indifferent. On the other hand, Jake brought evidence and anomalies recorded by modern scientific instruments in the area where the Neptune's wanderer disappeared. He talked about strange signals that were registered at the moment of the ship's disappearance and about anomalous meteorological phenomena observed in the same area. When they compared their data, it became clear that the places mentioned in Emily's ancient texts coincided with the anomalies noted by Jake. This discovery made them look at each other in a new light. They realized that despite their different approaches, combining their knowledge and efforts could lead to unraveling a mystery that had long been deemed unsolvable. Realizing the task before them required joint efforts, Jake and Emily decided to combine their resources and expertise. They formulated a plan of action, which included deep sea dives to anomaly points, studying ancient manuscripts and maps, and using modern technology to record and analyze unusual phenomena in these areas. Perhaps it was in these mysterious ocean points that the key to the disappearance of the Neptune's wanderer and much older secrets than they could imagine lay hidden. Deciding to start in the area where the ship's last location was recorded, they chartered a research vessel equipped with all the necessary equipment for underwater exploration. The ship's crew consisted of experienced sailors and scientists, each inspired by the possibility of making a discovery that could change the perception of ocean depths. Before setting sail, Jake and Emily held a series of meetings where the details of the upcoming expedition were discussed. They decided to use modern means of underwater navigation and cartography in combination with ancient maps and myths to find potential points of interest. Their strategy included studying underwater reliefs, searching for sunken artifacts, and deciphering symbols and signs left by ancient civilizations. As soon as the Seeker set sail, the team faced the first difficulties. Ocean currents and unpredictable weather hindered the search, and the depth of the ocean hid its secrets. However, with each dive, they gathered more data, inching closer to the solution. Underwater drones and deep diving equipment allowed them to explore places where no man had ever stepped before. One day, when they explored one of the points marked on an ancient map, they discovered unusual underwater formations that did not match anything known to modern science. These structures resembled the ruins of buildings or monuments created by intelligent beings. Jake and Emily realized they had found something important, possibly even related to the disappearance of the Neptune's wanderer. Working together, they began to map these underwater ruins, trying to understand their origin and significance. The discovery of these structures became a turning point in their research, opening up new perspectives and possibilities for understanding ancient ocean mysteries. This success further solidified their collaboration, and they became more determined in their quest to uncover the secrets hidden in the depths. Jake and Emily realized they were on the verge of significant discoveries that could not only change their own lives, but also the entire scientific world. They knew that each new dive could bring answers to age-old questions, but also new mysteries. Soon, their efforts were crowned with another significant discovery. On the ocean floor, amid seaweed and forgotten debris, they found a piece of hull that, by all indications, belonged to the Neptune's wanderer. The find was shrouded in mystique. There were no visible wreckage or signs of a catastrophe that could lead to the ship's sinking. This made Jake and Emily ponder what forces could facilitate such a disappearance, leaving no obvious traces behind. With each day spent at sea, their collaboration became more harmonized. Jake admired Emily's tireless energy and deep knowledge of ancient civilizations, while Emily valued his logical approach and ability to delve into the minutiae of the investigation. Together, they formed a powerful team capable of facing difficulties and finding answers hidden under layers of water and time. But their discoveries also attracted the attention of others. News of their findings began to spread among the scientific community and beyond, arousing interest and, in some cases, envy. Some colleagues expressed doubts about the authenticity of their discoveries, while others wished to join the research, hoping to share in the glory. Nonetheless, Jake and Emily remained focused on their goal. They realized they were on the brink of discoveries that could rewrite human history and our understanding of ancient civilizations. They were determined to unravel the remaining mysteries of the Neptune's Wanderer and understand the fate that befell it and its crew. As they continued their research, it became clear with each passing day that the ocean depths held far more than they had imagined. The discovery of the Neptune's Wanderer part only strengthened their resolve to find out what happened to the ship and its crew. Jake and Emily understood that every item raised from the ocean floor was a tiny fragment of a much larger story yet to be told. The next step was to dive to the location of the shipwreck find. The preparation for the dive was meticulous and well thought out, as they were aware of the potential risks associated with deep-sea exploration. However, their curiosity and drive for discovery outweighed their fear of potential dangers. The dive was filled with tension and excitement. The light from their underwater torches pierced the darkness of the ocean depths, revealing more and more details of the underwater landscape. When they finally reached the location of the find, they were presented with a scene that evoked a mix of awe and apprehension. The remnants of the Neptune's Wanderer lay on the bottom, surrounded by strange structures that did not resemble natural formations. The examination of the wreckage raised more questions than answers. Despite the damage caused by time and water, it was clear that the disaster was not caused by a typical shipwreck. The ship's structure had been altered by an invisible force, leaving behind mysterious symbols and marks on its surface. Collecting samples and photographing the site took several hours, after which they returned to the Seeker for further analysis. In those moments, as they examined the collected data, Jake and Emily felt the lines between scientific knowledge and ancient myths becoming increasingly blurred. The analysis results showed that the ship's metal had been exposed to unknown energy fields, which could alter its structure at a molecular level. This discovery confirmed their assumption that the disappearance of the Neptune's Wanderer was not merely a natural phenomenon but something much more mysterious and possibly ancient. At this point, their understanding of what had happened began to change. Emily saw in these events a connection to legends of lost cities and sunken civilizations mentioned in ancient texts. She speculated that the Neptune's Wanderer might have met the same fate as mythical ships of the past, vanishing in these waters. This thought led her to delve deeper into archaeological finds, seeking evidence of such places' existence. Jake, in turn, began to consider the possibility of anomalous zones in the ocean where unknown natural phenomena or even artificially created energy fields operate. He decided to seek help from his scientific colleagues to conduct more in-depth research on these phenomena. Combining their efforts, Jake and Emily developed a new action plan that included a detailed study of the underwater ruins and anomalous zones discovered during their dives. They hoped this would help them not only solve the mystery of the Neptune's Wanderer's disappearance, but also uncover hidden connections between ancient legends and modern anomalies. However, new challenges awaited them ahead. The information about their discoveries attracted the attention of not only the scientific community, but also other parties interested in the secrets hidden in the ocean depths. Among them were those who saw in these knowledges a means to achieve their own goals. Every new day of the expedition brought new discoveries and challenges, forcing Jake and Emily to confront not only the mysteries of the ocean depths, but also human fears and ambitions. However, their joint efforts and understanding made them a unified team capable of overcoming any obstacles on the path to the truth. Chapter 3: Mysteries of the Depths. Under the starry sky, where the moonlight reflects on the calm ocean surface, the Seeker sails into the unknown, carrying Jake and Emily, united by a common desire to uncover one of the greatest maritime mysteries of their time. This time, their dive promises to be a pivotal moment in their search, as they are about to explore a recently discovered object that could overturn all notions of the ocean's past depths. On the ocean floor, among the shimmering algae and hidden sands of secrets, they find an artifact that evokes awe and wonder. It's a stone slab, adorned with mysterious symbols and patterns that elude any known writing system. The artifact emits a faint but steady light, creating an aura of mystique and ancient wisdom around it. The slab lies on an underwater elevation, like an altar, long forgotten but not devoid of its power. Around it, an underwater landscape full of mysteries and hidden beauty unfolds, but the researchers' attention is solely fixed on the found object. Jake and Emily carefully examine the slab, using underwater equipment for detailed shots and analysis. They notice that some symbols on the slab are repeated, suggesting that it might be the key to decryption. They also find traces of wear and damage, indicating that the slab has endured many centuries underwater, possibly being part of a larger structure or even a temple. Analyzing the slab, Jake discovers anomalies in the stone's composition, similar to those found on fragments of the Neptune's Wanderer. This discovery leads them to think that the ship might have encountered this or a similar ancient structure, leading to its demise. Emily, delving into the study of the symbols, begins to see in them a story of ancient mariners who might have encountered and even interacted with representatives of a mysterious civilization. She suggests that the Neptune's Wanderer might have stumbled upon the last remnants of this civilization, still hidden in the ocean depths. The discovery of the artifact brings more questions than answers. What was the story of this mysterious civilization, and what knowledge might they have possessed? What events led to their disappearance, and why are the traces of their existence so meticulously hidden in the ocean depths? And most importantly, what connection exists between this ancient culture and the Neptune's Wanderer? Realizing the significance of their discovery, Jake and Emily decide to continue their research. They plan a series of dives in the surrounding waters, hoping to find more artifacts or even entire underwater structures that could shed light on this ancient mystery. During subsequent dives, they encounter unexpected obstacles: strong underwater currents, unforeseen weather conditions, and even inexplicable malfunctions in their equipment. These problems make them wonder if these ancient ruins are protected by some unknown forces. After one of the dives, when the researchers had almost lost hope of finding anything else, they encounter a mysterious being, or, perhaps, the guardian of these ancient places. The creature, with its strange and imposing appearance, does not seem hostile, but its presence clearly carries a warning. Despite the obstacles, the team makes another significant discovery: the remains of a structure that is believed to have been part of a large ancient temple or observatory. This find strengthens their belief that a developed civilization once existed in these waters. The team realizes they are on the brink of discoveries that could change history. Despite the dangers and unknowns, Jake and Emily decide to continue their search, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a desire to uncover the secrets of the past, as well as the mystery and unexplored nature of ancient civilizations that have left only enigmatic traces of their existence. Beneath the canopy of oceanic silence, where the only sounds were the noise of underwater currents and the distant echo of their own breathing through the regulators, Jake and Emily cautiously approached the object of their interest. The stone tablet, discovered during one of their dives, seemed completely out of place in this underwater world. Its surface was adorned with symbols as mysterious as they were compelling. Jake, relying on his analytical mind and experience in solving puzzles, carefully studied the arrangement and form of the symbols. He noticed that some of them were repeated, forming certain patterns which could indicate some form of writing or code. At the same time, he was drawn to the wear marks on the tablet, which could testify to its age and history. On the other hand, Emily, using her knowledge of ancient civilizations and symbols, tried to penetrate the meaning embedded in these enigmatic signs. She speculated that some of the symbols could be religious or astronomical symbols, used by ancient peoples to describe cosmic phenomena or divine entities. After a thorough examination of the tablet and gathering data about it, they decided to use a portable scanner to create a three-dimensional model of the artifact. This would allow them to conduct a deeper analysis of the symbols and the structure of the tablet later on board the Seeker. After completing their work underwater and returning to the ship, the researchers eagerly began further analysis of their find. Using specialized software, they started the process of deciphering the symbols, hoping to find some clue that could shed light on the history of the artifact and its connection to the Neptune's wanderer. The deciphering process proved to be complex and required their utmost concentration and joint efforts. Emily recalled similar symbols from ancient manuscripts and archaeological finds, trying to find matches, while Jake analyzed the structure and composition of the symbols, looking for logical connections and patterns. At one glorious moment, when their efforts seemed almost hopeless, Emily made an astonishing discovery. One of the symbols, which they had thought unique to this tablet, turned out to be very similar to a sign depicted on one of the artifacts found earlier in another part of the world. This discovery made them consider the possible connection between ancient cultures, separated by oceans and continents, but united by common symbols and knowledge. Emily speculated that these symbols could be part of a universal language, used by ancient seafarers or civilizations to exchange knowledge or warnings about maritime dangers. This language could explain how messages left by this mysterious culture could have ended up on the Neptune's wanderer, and possibly even triggered its disappearance. Inspired by this idea, Jake proposed conducting a comprehensive comparison of the found tablet with other archaeological finds around the world that feature similar symbols. Using his connections in the scientific community, he organized a data exchange with museums and research centers, significantly expanding the base for analysis. Gradually, the picture began to clear. The symbols on the tablet turned out to be a kind of map or instructions, which could serve as a navigational tool or warning about hidden dangers of the underwater world. This hypothesis would explain why the Neptune's wanderer following its route could become the victim of uncharted maritime mysteries. Excited by their discovery, Jake and Emily decided to share their findings with the scientific community, hoping to attract more attention and resources to their research. They prepared a report outlining their hypotheses and preliminary conclusions, and presented it at an international conference on underwater archaeology. Under the cover of oceanic silence, where the only sounds were the murmur of underwater currents and the distant echo of their own breathing through the regulators, Jake and Emily cautiously approached the object of their interest. The stone slab, found during one of their dives, seemed completely alien to this underwater world. Its surface was covered with symbols as enigmatic as they were captivating. Jake, relying on his analytical mind and experience in solving puzzles, meticulously studied the arrangement and form of the symbols. He noticed that some of them repeated, forming specific patterns, which might indicate some form of writing or code. Simultaneously, he was intrigued by the wear marks on the slab, suggesting its age and history. On the other hand, Emily, drawing on her knowledge of ancient civilizations and symbols, sought to unlock the meaning behind these inscrutable signs. She speculated that some symbols could be religious or astronomical symbols used by ancient peoples to describe cosmic events or divine entities. After carefully examining the slab and gathering data about it, they decided to use a portable scanner to create a three-dimensional model of the artifact. This would enable them to conduct a more in-depth analysis of the symbols and the structure of the slab back on board the Seeker. Once their underwater work was complete and they had returned to the ship, the researchers eagerly began the further analysis of their find. Using specialized software, they initiated the process of deciphering the symbols, hoping to find some clue that could illuminate the artifact's history and its connection to the Neptune's wanderer. The deciphering process was challenging and demanded their utmost concentration and collective efforts. Emily recalled similar symbols from ancient manuscripts and archaeological finds, searching for matches, while Jake analyzed the structure and composition of the symbols, seeking logical connections and patterns. At one miraculous moment, when their efforts seemed almost futile, Emily made a startling discovery. One of the symbols, which they had believed to be unique to this slab, closely resembled a mark depicted on an artifact found earlier in a different part of the world. This revelation led them to contemplate the possible connection between ancient cultures, separated by oceans and continents, yet united by shared symbols and knowledge. Emily theorized that these symbols might be part of a universal language used by ancient seafarers or civilizations for exchanging knowledge or warnings about maritime dangers. This language could explain how messages left by this enigmatic culture might have ended up on the Neptune's wanderer and possibly even triggered its disappearance. Inspired by this idea, Jake suggested conducting a comprehensive comparison of the found slab with other archaeological finds worldwide that feature similar symbols. Utilizing his connections in the academic community, he arranged for data exchange with museums and research centers, greatly expanding their analysis base. Gradually, the picture began to clarify. The symbols on the slab turned out to be a kind of map or directions that could serve as a navigational tool or a warning about hidden dangers of the underwater world. This hypothesis could explain why the Neptune's wanderer, following its route, could fall victim to unexplored maritime mysteries. Thrilled by their discovery, Jake and Emily decided to share their findings with the academic community, hoping to attract more attention and resources to their research. They prepared a report outlining their hypotheses and preliminary conclusions and presented it at an international conference on underwater archaeology. The presentation sparked keen interest among scientists and researchers, many of whom expressed a desire to join further searches and studies. This collaboration opened new perspectives and opportunities for Jake and Emily, allowing them to expand the scope of their project and delve deeper into exploring the ancient mysteries of the ocean. On board the Seeker, amidst the equipment and maps scattered across the table in their temporary research lab, Jake and Emily began a detailed analysis of the stone slab. The air was filled with the anticipation of discovery, while the ocean around them seemed full of mysteries ready to be unveiled. Emily, intently scrutinizing the symbols, flipped through the pages of ancient manuscripts, comparing them with the images on the slab. She discovered similarities between some symbols and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, while others resembled Mayan script. This led her to ponder the possibility of cultural exchange between ancient civilizations or the existence of a common proto-language used in the distant past. While Emily delved into the world of ancient symbols, Jake took on the analysis of the slab itself. Using a portable spectrometer, he examined the stone's composition, attempting to determine its origin and age. The results showed that the slab's material was unusual for that ocean region, confirming their speculation that the artifact might have been brought from afar or ended up on the seabed as a result of some disaster. The analysis also revealed microscopic traces of fossilized microorganisms found only in specific world regions, allowing Jake to narrow down the search for the slab's origin. This fact added a new detail to their research mosaic, indicating the breadth of connections between ancient cultures. Combining their efforts, Jake and Emily formulated a preliminary hypothesis that the artifact might have been part of an ancient ritual object or navigational instrument used by seafarers of the past to determine their location or serve as a warning for future generations. This discovery raised new questions about the slab's purpose and how it was connected to the disappearance of the Neptune's wanderer. The researchers realized that a new chapter in their search was unfolding, filled with unsolved mysteries and potential discoveries. They decided to continue their work, ready to face any difficulties and dangers that might await them in the depths of the ocean. Recognizing the significance of their discovery, Jake and Emily decided to share their research findings with other scientists. They hoped that collaborative efforts would help decipher the ancient symbols and unravel the mystery of the slab. They organized a video conference in which experts in ancient languages, archaeology, and maritime history from around the world participated. During the presentation, they shared photos and analysis data of the artifact, discussing their hypotheses regarding its origin and purpose. The discussion turned into a lively academic dialogue, where scientists proposed various theories from the possibility that these might be star maps used by ancient mariners, to the idea that the symbols could be part of a ritual text related to marine deities or spirits. One expert suggested that the repeating elements on the slab might indicate astronomical events, possibly related to navigation or calendaring. Another scholar expressed the opinion that the structure of the symbols reminded him of ancient maritime charts, where each symbol could represent a hazard or an important landmark. Inspired by the new ideas and suggestions, Jake and Emily decided to expand the scope of their research. They planned a new expedition aimed at finding additional artifacts in the same area where the slab was discovered. They hoped that further finds would help them better understand the context in which the slab was used and possibly uncover new details about the ancient civilization that left behind these artifacts. Preparing for the expedition requires time and resources. Jake and Emily seek funding from scientific foundations and private sponsors, arguing the importance of their research for understanding human history and maritime archaeology. They also work on improving their underwater equipment to ensure the safety and efficiency of the upcoming dives. The discovery of a similarity between the symbol on the ancient slab and the markings on the fragments of the Neptune's Wanderer became a pivotal moment in their research. Emily and Jake immediately realized that this could not be a coincidence. This symbol might have been a link between the ship's history and the mysterious civilization evidenced by the found artifacts. Delving into the history of the Neptune's Wanderer, they recalled that the ship was equipped with the most advanced navigational instruments of its time and was engaged in exploring the ocean depths in search of ancient sunken cities and civilizations. Could it be that during one of its dives, the crew of the Neptune's Wanderer stumbled upon traces of this unknown ancient culture and took some artifacts on board, including a piece of slab with symbols? Realizing the potential significance of this connection, the researchers decided to review the logs and records of the Neptune's Wanderer's last expeditions, looking for mentions of any unusual findings or anomalies that the crew might have encountered before disappearing. This step required access to the archives and databases of maritime research institutes and possibly even classified military records, as the Neptune's Wanderer might have been involved in confidential missions. During their investigation, Jake and Emily find some indirect evidence that shortly before the Neptune's Wanderer disappeared, the crew indeed reported unusual underwater structures they explored in one of the ocean's most mysterious areas. This information was encrypted and not available to the public, adding intrigue to their research. Deciding they needed more information to confirm their suspicions, Emily and Jake begin planning an expedition to the last known location of the Neptune's Wanderer. They hope that exploring this zone will allow them to find additional clues supporting the connection between the ship's disappearance and the ancient civilization. The chapter concludes with the moment of preparation for the new expedition, as Jake and Emily, full of determination and anticipation, gather all the necessary equipment and data. They realize they are on the verge of potentially great discoveries that could not only reveal the mystery of the Neptune's Wanderer's disappearance, but also shed light on long-lost knowledge and achievements of an ancient civilization. The potential connection between the ship and ancient artifacts gives a new impetus to their research, promising the possibility of a deeper understanding of human history. On board the Seeker, on the eve of a new journey, they meticulously check their equipment and tools. Modern technology combined with ancient maps and records creates a unique symbiosis, allowing a deeper penetration into the mysteries of the ocean depths. At the same time, in anticipation of the expedition, they face some challenges obtaining permits for research in international waters and convincing sponsors of the significance of their mission. But their persistence and conviction in the importance of the upcoming journey help overcome these barriers. Beyond logistical and administrative issues, Jake and Emily are aware of the personal risks involved. Deep-sea diving is always fraught with dangers, and the uncertainty surrounding their upcoming investigation adds an extra layer of unpredictability. However, their shared goal and mutual trust make them a team capable of facing any challenges. Equipped with the best underwater gear and eager to uncover the secrets of a long-vanished civilization, Jake and Emily plunge into the deep and dark waters, where each turn of their submarine's propeller brings them closer to new discoveries. Their initial dives lead them to a place where the seabed is littered with the remnants of an ancient culture. Among the scattered stones and corals, they find objects clearly crafted by ancient artisans. One of the first discoveries is a ceramic vase adorned with exquisite patterns and symbols similar to those on the slab. Emily carefully cleans it from the marine sediments, revealing more detailed images that tell stories of ancient gods, seas, and stars, which apparently played a significant role in the life of this culture. They then find a series of metal ornaments, including bracelets and amulets, each bearing unique patterns and symbols. Jake, analyzing the material, concludes that the alloy from which the ornaments are made contains elements rarely found in nature and used in modern times only in high-tech applications. This discovery hints at an extraordinarily high level of knowledge and technology of this ancient civilization. With each new artifact, the puzzle of the past becomes more complex and fascinating. Jake and Emily realize that each find is not just an item of ancient art, but a piece of history revealing the life and beliefs of a people the world has yet to know. Their attention is drawn to one particularly interesting discovery, a small statuette depicting a figure dressed in strange garments and holding something resembling an astrolabe. Emily suggests that this statuette might symbolize someone like a scientist or navigator, further supporting the idea of a highly developed culture with deep knowledge of the stars and sea voyages. They meticulously document each new artifact, taking photographs and notes for later in-depth analysis, and possibly unraveling more secrets of this mysterious civilization. They feel they are on the verge of significant discoveries that could redefine the historical understanding of ancient cultures and their interconnections. With each new item pulled from the ocean depths, they get closer to unraveling how these ancient people lived, what they worshipped, and what knowledge they possessed. Among the found artifacts are several tools that researchers suggest could have been used for astronomical observations and maritime navigation. These tools, though eroded by time, bear the mark of thoughtful design and precision, indicating the high level of knowledge of ancient craftsmen. Inspired by these finds, Jake and Emily begin to map the location of all the discovered artifacts, trying to identify possible patterns or structures that could indicate the locations of major settlements or centers of this ancient civilization. Their goal is to find key locations that could reveal even more secrets. During their work, they encounter some difficulties. The terrain around the finds is complex and dangerous, with many underwater currents and reefs that could pose a serious obstacle to diving. Moreover, the preservation of some artifacts leaves much to be desired, complicating their identification and analysis. Nevertheless, their enthusiasm does not wane. They understand that every tiny detail could be the key to solving the main mystery. Using modern technologies such as 3D scanning and spectral analysis, they continue to explore each item, hoping to restore their original appearance and purpose. Jake and Emily discover a small fragment that seems to be part of a larger mechanism. This item arouses their particular interest, as its construction is unlike anything they've seen before. They speculate that it could be part of a device used by the ancients for important purposes, possibly related to navigation or even ceremonies. Excited by this discovery, they prepare for new dives, hoping to find the remaining parts of the mechanism and, possibly, unveil another mystery of the mysterious ancient civilization. They realize that each new day of research can bring significant discoveries and bring them closer to understanding the knowledge and technologies available to this ancient culture and how they might have influenced the development of seafaring and astronomy in antiquity. Their passion for the search becomes more apparent as each new find adds fragments to the mosaic of history they are trying to recreate. With a new morning and a new dive, hopes for major discoveries grow. Underwater, among the dark contours of the underwater landscape, Jake and Emily uncover another artifact that appears to be part of the mechanism found earlier. This new item has a complex structure and is adorned with the same symbols as the slab and other found items. Their excitement reaches its peak when they realize they might have found the key to understanding the functions of this mechanism. Back on board the Seeker, they begin a detailed study of the new finds. Using 3D modeling, they attempt to reconstruct the possible appearance and structure of the mechanism as a whole. Focusing on the symbols, Emily starts to see connections between the patterns on different artifacts, suggesting they could serve as instructions for using or setting up the mechanism. Their discussion of discoveries and hypotheses occupies the entire evening. Jake and Emily consider various theories about how and why the ancient people might have used this mechanism. One hypothesis suggests it could have been a navigational device, allowing ancient mariners to determine their location and direction by the stars. Another theory suggests the mechanism might have been used for ritual purposes, possibly for tracking astronomical events important to the culture of this civilization. Despite their fatigue, Jake and Emily are determined to continue their research the next day. They realize they are on the verge of potentially great discoveries that could not only unveil the mysteries of the vanished Neptune's wanderer, but also shed light on an ancient civilization whose knowledge could significantly contribute to understanding humanity's history and ancient technologies. They fall asleep with thoughts of future dives and discoveries that await them in the unexplored depths of the ocean. In the depths, where sunlight barely penetrates through the gloomy waters, Jake and Emily continued their search. Suddenly, from the dark depths near one of the underwater ruins, an indistinct figure appeared. At first, they thought it was a large marine inhabitant, but as the creature approached, it became clear that it resembled none of the known marine creatures. The creature had a human-like form, but its skin shimmered with strange hues, as if made of water and light. The creature's eyes glowed with deep understanding and ancient wisdom. In its hands, it held an object resembling a trident, which emitted a dim light, illuminating its face. Jake and Emily froze in astonishment and fear for a moment, but they intuitively understood that the creature meant them no harm. On the contrary, its presence seemed somehow intended, as if it had been waiting for their arrival. The creature slowly approached them, and to their surprise, began to gesture, indicating that it was aware of their mission's purpose. It pointed to the slab with symbols they had brought as a sample, and then gestured towards the ruins around them. Realizing they were possibly facing a guardian or the last representative of an ancient civilization, Jake and Emily felt a profound respect and awe. Emily, relying on her knowledge of ancient languages, attempted to establish primitive contact with the creature using gestures and simple symbols. The guardian, understanding their intentions, began to lead them through the ruins, showing significant places and objects that seemed to play a key role in the culture and life of this ancient civilization. At one point, the creature stopped and, pointing to a series of images carved on a wall, conveyed that these symbols tell an important story. At that moment, Jake and Emily realized the significance of their mission, not just as research but as a rescue and preservation of the heritage of an ancient civilization that might be on the brink of oblivion. The encounter with the Guardian became a kind of awakening for them, reminding them of the importance of understanding and respecting humanity's past. The creature gently touched their hands, conveying a sensation of warmth and gratitude. Then, just as mysteriously as it had appeared, the creature vanished into the dark depths of the ocean, leaving Jake and Emily with a feeling that they had become part of something much greater than just underwater archaeological excavations. They understood that their mission now carries a profound meaning, uncovering and preserving the history of a forgotten civilization for future generations. As they slowly ascended to the surface, their minds were overflowing with thoughts about the encounter. They discussed every gesture and every symbol shown to them by the Guardian, trying to decipher their meaning and connection with the found artifacts. They realized that every detail the creature showed them could be a key to understanding an entire knowledge system that belonged to this ancient culture. Back on board the Seeker, they immediately began to record all the details of their incredible dive. They recreated a map of the ruins shown to them by the Guardian, marking the places it had pointed out. This map became their new research plan, a route to new discoveries. They also decided to share their experience with the scientific community, but in such a way as to protect this place from possible vandalism or uncontrolled research that could harm the remains of the ancient civilization. They prepared a report describing their encounter, without revealing the exact location of the ruins, and emphasized the importance of further organized and responsible research in this area. Jake and Emily understood that a new chapter in their research was opening up before them, one that would require not only archaeological precision, but also diplomacy and strategy in matters of preserving and protecting underwater heritage. They decided to seek support from international organizations involved in the protection of underwater cultural values to ensure proper protection of this site. With each new item carefully extracted from the marine abyss, they begin to see a picture of an extensive network of trade routes, cultural exchanges, and possibly even shared mythological and religious beliefs. Jake, analyzing the materials and techniques used in creating the artifacts, starts to speculate that this ancient civilization might have possessed knowledge lost to subsequent generations, and that this knowledge could have facilitated their outstanding maritime voyages and astronomical observations. Perhaps they laid the foundations for the development of navigation and astronomy in other ancient cultures. Emily, focusing on deciphering symbols and studying iconography, begins to feel a connection between the mythologies of different peoples and the images on the found objects. She wonders whether some of the mythical creatures and gods known in various cultures might be echoes of ancient encounters with this lost civilization. Could it be that stories of sea gods and heroes traveling the seas and encountering unusual peoples and creatures have a real basis? Realizing the full picture of the discovery prompts the researchers to rethink the historical chronology and interconnections between ancient cultures. They begin to document their findings with the intention of sharing them with the scientific community, understanding that their discoveries could lead to a reassessment of many historical theories. Realizing the scale and significance of their discoveries, Jake and Emily also face the burden of responsibility for preserving and protecting these artifacts from looting and misinterpretation. They decide to work closely with international archaeological and conservation organizations to ensure proper care and study of these items. Jake and Emily feel like pioneers on the brink of great discoveries that could change the understanding of human history. In their hearts burns the desire to uncover all the secrets of the sunken civilization, and they are ready to face the challenges that lie ahead. Knowing that there is still much work ahead, they prepare for a long process of research, including underwater archaeological excavations, artifact analysis, and collaboration with experts from around the world. With each new day, their confidence that they are on the right path only strengthens. They realize that their discoveries could shed light not only on the history of one lost civilization, but also on the overall picture of the ancient world, its cultural and technological connections between different peoples and continents. Jake and Emily also consider the idea of setting up an international exhibition where all the discovered artifacts could be on display, along with commentary and theories from science. This would allow the general public to learn about their discoveries and possibly draw attention to the importance of underwater archaeology and the preservation of underwater cultural heritage. They understand that the path they have chosen is not easy, and that ahead lie both scientific discoveries and disputes in academic circles. But it is precisely this that makes their work thrilling and inspiring. As the sunset paints the sky over the ocean in bright colors, Jake and Emily look to the future, full of hopes and ready for new adventures in search of the lost stories of the depths. Chapter 4: Traps and Betrayals. After many successful dives, Jake and Emily were eagerly preparing for a new expedition to the ruins that, they believed, would open new pages in the history of the lost civilization. However, what started as a routine dive quickly turned into a series of trials that threatened not only the success of their mission but also their very lives. During the preparation for the dive, everything seemed as usual. However, as soon as the seeker reached the ruin zone, strange things began to happen. The first sign was a strange flickering of the navigation system screens, as if the electronics suddenly came to life, refusing to obey commands. Jake, an experienced engineer, tried to find a logical explanation, checking cables and connections, but could not find the cause of the malfunctions. Emily, who had studied ancient texts and myths, recalled a legend about a protective curse placed on sacred sites to ward off unwelcome guests. She couldn't shake the thought that their current problems might be related to this ancient magic. As the team began the dive, clouds suddenly gathered over the sea, causing a powerful storm. Waves, like gigantic monsters, began to attack the seeker, making the preparation for the dive almost impossible. At first, Jake and Emily thought it was just bad weather, but the speed at which the storm escalated was unnatural. Weather data had not predicted such a turn of events. The most alarming moment came when they lost contact with the rest of the team on board the Seeker. All attempts to restore communication were unsuccessful. Radios, satellite phones, even signal flares, nothing could penetrate the mysterious silence barrier that seemed to envelop them in this area of the ocean. However, despite all obstacles, they decided to continue the dive. Suddenly, at a depth where only darkness should be, they saw a strange light. It didn't resemble the bioluminescence they had encountered before. The light was warm and inviting, as if someone or something was trying to lead them to it. Approaching the source of light, they witnessed something incredible. A figure resembling a statue but eerily animated appeared before them. The creature, looking like a guardian of these ruins, silently pointed in the direction they should proceed. Its presence didn't invoke fear, but rather wonder and benevolent intent. Emily and Jake paused for a moment, trying to decide whether to trust this mystical guide. The statue seemed to be carved from the corals and stones that had lain on the ocean floor for centuries. Its eyes, though stone, radiated warmth and wisdom, calming yet simultaneously invoking a reverential fear. "It must be an ancient guardian," whispered Emily, unable to take her eyes off the unusual figure. Jake nodded, deciding to follow the indicated path. They swam past curved columns and ruined arches, each telling its own story about the past of these places. The seawater played with light on the ancient walls, creating the illusion of movement, as if the spirits of the past still wandered through these ruins. The water grew darker, but the source of light they were aiming for made the surrounding darkness less menacing. Suddenly, a majestic hall full of mysterious symbols and bas-reliefs depicting ancient rituals and ceremonies unfolded before them. At the center of the hall stood an altar, illuminated by a soft light emanating from an unknown source. "Look," exclaimed Emily, pointing to the center of the altar where a small, light-emitting object lay. They cautiously approached to examine the find. It was an amulet, exquisitely carved from stone, which felt unnaturally light and warm to the touch. At its center was a crystal pulsating and glowing, as if it harbored a beating heart. "This must be the key," said Jake, feeling the moment's weight and significance. A key to something the ancients were so earnestly trying to protect. They exchanged glances, understanding they were on the verge of a great discovery. With the amulet in hand and hearts full of determination and excitement, Emily and Jake continued their journey through the hall, ready to unveil the secrets hidden in the depths of the sea for millennia. Venturing deeper into the hall, they noticed the walls becoming more adorned, and the reliefs and images becoming more complex and significant. It seemed every stone told its story, each pattern had its meaning, waiting to be deciphered. The amulet's light began to pulse stronger as they approached the back of the hall, where a grand fresco depicting an unknown battle between ancient gods and sea creatures was revealed. The amulet's glow illuminated the scene, bringing it to life, as if the characters were ready to come alive and continue their ancient struggle at any moment. "This looks like a map," suggested Emily, carefully examining the fresco details. "Perhaps it points to the location where the key to deciphering these ruins is kept." They discovered that the amulet's light focused on one point in the fresco, depicting a place eerily reminiscent of an adjacent hall within the ruins. Jake and Emily exchanged resolute looks and moved in the indicated direction, feeling each step brought them closer to solving the mystery. Navigating through debris and ruins, they found the entrance to the mysterious hall exactly as described in the fresco. At the hall's center stood an incredible artifact, a giant crystal surrounded by statues of ancient guardians. The amulet in Emily's hand began emitting a blinding light, reflecting off the crystal's surface and making the entire hall glow with magical radiance. "This place. It's not just ruins, it's a sanctuary, a repository of ancient wisdom and power," Jake whispered, astounded by the sight. With the amulet in hand and the crystal before them, Emily and Jake realized they were on the brink of a great discovery. They understood that the answers they sought lay in the crystal's energy and the history recorded in these ancient walls. Connecting the amulet to the crystal could unveil the ancient secrets, but they also recognized the risks associated with awakening an unknown power. At this decisive moment, standing at the source of ancient magic and history, Emily and Jake realized that their adventure was just beginning. They were ready to accept the challenge and unravel the mysteries hidden in the depths of the ocean and the legends of the past. With caution and admiration, they approached the altar where the crystal and the amulet began to interact even more intensely. The light of the amulet and the crystal merged into a single whole, illuminating the ancient inscriptions and drawings on the walls of the hall, which had previously remained undeciphered. Among the symbols and images, Emily recognized an ancient language, something she had studied in her scholarly work. Excitedly, she began to translate the texts, and to their surprise, they turned out to be a kind of guide or warning for future generations. The texts spoke of a powerful force hidden in the depths of the ocean, a force capable of both creation and destruction. Standing by, Jake watched the process, realizing that they had become part of something monumental. He assisted Emily by holding the amulet and directing its light onto unclear text fragments, making them visible for translation. As they pieced together all the fragments of this ancient message, a story of a great cataclysm that tore this civilization apart millennia ago unfolded before them. The secret wisdom and power were hidden in the depths to prevent a repeat of the tragedy. Emily and Jake realized that they had found not just an archaeological artifact, but a key to ancient knowledge of significant importance to all humanity. They exchanged looks, full of determination and realization of the moment's importance. Deciding that this discovery should be presented to the world, but cautiously, to prevent misuse of the newfound power, they carefully took the amulet and made copies of the ancient texts for further study. Returning from the ocean depths was triumphant. They felt like pioneers, discoverers of the uncharted. Now they faced the task of sharing their discovery with the global scientific community, ensuring the preservation and proper interpretation of ancient knowledge. Their adventure, which began as a search for lost artifacts, turned into a mission to preserve and reveal ancient secrets for the benefit of future generations. Returning to the Seeker, after encountering the Light and the Guardian, Jake and Emily began to analyze the events, trying to find logical explanations for what had occurred. Emily recalled ancient manuscripts mentioning guardians of sacred places, created to protect from the unworthy. They concluded that the mishaps might have been warnings or tests meant to deter or stop unprepared seekers. Realizing that their previous approach might have been insufficiently cautious or respectful towards the ancient secrets, Jake and Emily decided to change their strategy. They resolved to conduct further research more carefully, paying special attention to potential warnings and signs left by ancient guardians. They also decided to keep a log of their dives to record all unusual phenomena and events that might be key to understanding ancient protective mechanisms. With a new approach and increased attention to detail, Jake and Emily began to discover new, previously unnoticed aspects of the ruins. They found subtle inscriptions and symbols that seemed to serve as directions or warnings for those attentive enough to notice them. These discoveries allowed them to better understand the structure and purpose of the ruins and the potential dangers lurking within. Gradually, with each dive and each new discovery, Jake and Emily regained their confidence. They began to feel capable of overcoming the obstacles before them and even using them in their research. The difficulties and challenges transformed from barriers into valuable lessons, making each step forward more meaningful and convincing. In search of answers, Emily turns again to the ancient texts and myths related to the area under investigation. She comes across legends of protectors, ancient guardians who, according to tradition, guard sacred places from the uninitiated. These beings, the myths say, had the ability to control the elements and create barriers for those who try to disturb the peace of ancient ruins. These discoveries lead the researchers to view the events from a different angle. Deciding to expand their research, Jake and Emily decide to consult with the local inhabitants who might know more about the legends and history of this area. During these meetings, they learn about old traditions that speak of cursed places in the sea, where ancient gods and guardians do not allow humans to interfere. The locals are wary of the idea of exploring these places and warn the researchers against further dives. Realizing they might face insurmountable forces, Jake and Emily decide to rethink their approach to the research. They begin to develop new strategies and methods that would allow them to explore the ruins without disturbing potential ancient protective mechanisms. They discuss the possibility of using more advanced and less invasive technologies, such as remote sensing and 3D modeling. Armed with new knowledge and respect for ancient myths, Jake and Emily decide to conduct another dive. This time they bring updated equipment and follow a strict plan to minimize the risk of unwanted interference with ancient protective mechanisms. They choose a dive site some distance from the main ruins to start the exploration from the periphery and gradually approach the center. The new dive proves successful. Using remote sensing, they discover several previously unknown structures around the main complex of ruins. These discoveries provide new clues about the location and possible function of the submerged buildings. Thanks to their cautious approach, they avoid further accidents and begin to collect valuable data without disturbing potential protective mechanisms. In the process of analyzing the collected data, Jake and Emily start to notice certain patterns in the placement of the ruins and associated artifacts. They speculate that these patterns might be a kind of signals or indications intended for those who can decipher them. This understanding helps them better navigate the space of the sunken civilization and avoid potentially dangerous areas. These new discoveries make Jake and Emily respect the ancient builders even more and their ability to guard their secrets. The researchers realize that every action they take in these waters must be considered and respectful, not to disturb the delicate balance between exploration and preservation. They decide to continue their work with even greater caution, focusing on gathering information without physically intervening in the structure of the ruins. Chapter 5: Love in the Maelstrom of Mysteries. The whirlwind of events enveloping Emily and Jake in the ocean depths strengthens their understanding and attachment. Their joint efforts in unraveling the mysteries of ancient civilizations become not just a scientific challenge, but a path to a deep emotional connection. Working together, they discover new facets in themselves, learn to trust each other not just as colleagues but as close people who can support and protect in a difficult situation. One day, after a long and exhausting dive, they found themselves on the deck of the research vessel, watching the sunset. The sea around them was ablaze with fiery colors, and this moment became a symbol of their relationship: bright, beautiful, but full of unpredictability and mysteries. Emily looked at Jake, whose face was illuminated by the last rays of the setting sun, and understood that their bond was unique and irreplaceable. "We're doing this together," despite everything Jake said softly, taking her hand. Their touch was full of tenderness and understanding. Emily nodded, feeling a fire in her heart that nothing could extinguish. Their love was like a raging ocean, powerful and ever-changing. In the moments when they dived into the depths, facing the unknown and danger, it was their feelings that helped maintain sanity and gave them the strength to move forward. Each find, each discovery, made their unity stronger. But the real test for them came at a moment during one of the dives when they encountered difficulties. The current was stronger, the equipment malfunctioned, and for a moment, it seemed they were lost in the vast depths of the ocean. In that critical moment, Jake grabbed Emily's hand, their eyes met. Without words, but with complete understanding of each other, they managed to overcome the difficulties and return to the vessel. This experience only strengthened their resolve and desire to move forward, shoulder to shoulder, regardless of the secrets the ocean holds. Love in the maelstrom of mysteries became for them not just an emotional connection, but an unbreakable foundation upon which their joint life and scientific activity were built. And in this infinite depth of feelings, they discovered something they didn't expect to find: the ability to see beauty in the most mysterious and uncharted corners of the world. Their joint adventures became for them not only a journey to civilizations lost in time, but also a journey to the depths of their own souls, where they discovered their true purpose and endless love for each other. With each new day spent in the vast marine expanses, their relationship only grew stronger. Love became for them a beacon that illuminated the path even in the darkest times of doubts and trials. They realized that together they could overcome any obstacles, and their joint passion for discoveries and the search for truth made them invincible. In the evenings, when the work gave them a respite, they loved to spend time on the deck, watching the stars. In such moments, they felt their insignificant smallness in the face of the infinite universe, but at the same time, they realized that together they constitute a whole, capable of withstanding the vast expanses of the ocean and time. Their love, filled with depth and mysteries, like the ocean, seemed infinite and all-encompassing. One such evening, Jake took Emily's hands in his and said, "You know, I always thought my calling was to unravel the mysteries of the past, but with you, I realized that the greatest mystery and the most valuable discovery is love." Emily smiled in response, and in her eyes was reflected the same excitement and anticipation of new adventures that awaited them ahead. They realized that ahead of them lay many uncharted territories and unrevealed mysteries. But now, as they were together, they felt they could face any challenges fate had prepared for them. Their love, mutual respect, and passion for discoveries made them not only partners in scientific research, but also inseparable companions in life, together exploring the endless expanses of love and the sea. The next morning, greeting the dawn on the deck, Jake and Emily dove back into their research with a new sense of unity. They began preparing for a new dive, which they believed would shed light on another page in the history of the lost civilization. The preparation was in full swing, their gazes often met, and each time it was filled with warmth and support. As they descended into the depths, the world around them became quiet and mysterious. The light from their lanterns illuminated the path through the murky waters. Suddenly, before them, appeared the entrance to an ancient temple, hidden from human eyes for millennia. The walls were adorned with exquisite reliefs, telling stories of gods, people, and the sea, which was both a home and a deity for this civilization. In the very heart of the temple, they discovered a small pool filled with the purest water. Above it towered a figure, studded with precious stones and mother of pearl. Emily, unable to contain her admiration, touched the wall, and to her surprise, some of the stones lit up, illuminating the water in the pool with incredible colors. Jake offered her his hand, and together they touched the surface of the water. At that moment, the light began to pulsate, and the water in the pool vibrated, creating an image, a map of the starry sky. "It's a navigational map," Jake whispered, realizing that. Astonished by their discovery, Emily and Jake realized that their love and passion for research had led them to something that surpassed all their previous finds. They understood that together they could uncover the world's most profound mysteries. Upon returning to the surface, they exchanged glances full of pride and delight from the discovery they had made together. Their adventure continued, and now, being together, they felt ready to face any mysteries that the boundless sea held. Love in the whirlpool of mysteries became not only a source of inspiration for them but also an unshakable force that allowed them to move forward on an endless journey, exploring ancient worlds. Chapter 6: Unveiling the Mystery. After their last dive and the astonishing discovery in the ancient temple, Emily and Jake began to gather all the data and artifacts to form a complete picture of what had happened. Night after night, they labored over documents, maps, and objects, noting every detail in their records. With each new piece of information, they came closer to understanding the connection between the Neptune's wanderer and the sunken civilization. Eventually, Emily found a mention of the wanderer in one of the ancient texts deciphered from inscriptions in the temple. It turned out that the Neptune's wanderer had encountered an ancient force when exploring the same waters where Emily and Jake were now. The ship and its crew fell into a time trap, created by a protective mechanism installed by the ancients to guard their secrets from the uninitiated. With the mystery of the Neptune's wanderer unraveled, it became clear that the ancients possessed knowledge far surpassing the modern and used magical forces to protect their world. However, the more Emily and Jake learned, the more alarming their discoveries became. They realized that some of this knowledge could be dangerous if it fell into the wrong hands. Discussing their findings, they concluded that they must be very careful in disclosing information about the ancient civilization and the Neptune's wanderer. "We must protect these secrets, as the ancients did," Jake said, looking at the glowing amulet in the dark. Emily agreed with him. They decided to reveal only the part of the story that would not pose a threat and could contribute to the advancement of science, but the secrets related to ancient magical forces would remain under lock and key. However, even having made such a decision, they felt the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. Emily and Jake realized that they were on the threshold of a new era of research, and their discoveries could change humanity's understanding of its past and future. That night, as they stood on the deck, contemplating the starry sky, they felt part of something unimaginably great. They were connected not only by their love for each other but also by a common mission to uncover the secrets of the past without allowing the mistakes of the ancients to be repeated in our time. They understood that their task was not only that of researchers but also guardians of the wisdom they had gained in the depths of the ocean. "We are like a bridge between the past and the future," Emily mused, staring into the infinite starry sky. "And we need to make sure this bridge is strong," Jake added, wrapping his arms around her shoulders. They both recognized the importance of their discovery and were ready to take responsibility for its consequences. In the days that followed, they meticulously prepared for the upcoming presentation of their findings to the scientific community. They weighed every word, understanding how crucial it was to convey the essence of their discoveries correctly to avoid misinterpretations and potential dangers. When the day of the presentation came, Emily and Jake stood before the gathered scientists with unprecedented excitement. They talked about the Neptune's wanderer, the ancient civilization, and the mysterious temple, but kept silent about the most dangerous aspects of their findings. Their presentations sparked a storm of enthusiasm and questions, but they remained firm in their decision to protect the most sensitive secrets. Soon after the presentation, they secluded themselves in their laboratory to discuss the next steps. They decided to create a closed group of researchers who could be trusted with a deeper examination of the ancient technologies and magic found in the temple. This approach would allow them to continue their research without exposing the world to the dangers some of the ancient knowledge carried. Emily and Jake continued their work, becoming leaders in underwater archaeology and guardians of ancient secrets. Their love, strengthened by shared trials and discoveries, became the foundation for a new life full of adventures and new mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Thus, with each new dive into the ocean depths, they not only revealed the secrets of the past but also built their future together, in love and understanding, in the whirlpool of mysteries, which was now their shared home. The investigation into the disappearance of the Neptune's wanderer began with the study of the last known coordinates of the vessel. Jake, Emily, and their team carefully analyzed all available data about the ship's route and conditions in that area at the time of disappearance. They compiled reports on weather conditions, possible ocean currents, and historical data on underwater anomalies in that region. In addition to studying maps and meteorological data, the team conducted a series of dives in the area of the presumed disappearance of the ship. Using modern underwater equipment, including remotely operated vehicles, they examined the seabed for any debris or traces of the Neptune's wanderer. During one of the dives, ancient ruins were discovered, which later turned out to play a key role in the investigation. The study of the ruins allowed Emily and Jake to find ancient texts and artifacts, indicating the existence of a powerful protective mechanism set up by an ancient civilization. A breakthrough in the investigation occurred when Emily managed to decipher part of the texts found in the ruins. The text spoke of the protector of the depths created to protect ancient knowledge from the uninitiated. According to the descriptions, the Neptune's wanderer may have accidentally activated this mechanism, leading to its disappearance. For further study of the protective mechanism and to find ways to deactivate it, Emily and Jake used an amulet found in one of the underwater caves. The amulet, as it turned out, was the key to controlling ancient devices, and with its help, they were able to find and explore an ancient laboratory hidden under the water. After many dangerous dives and detailed study of ancient technologies, the team managed to recover part of the information about the operation of the protector of the depths. They discovered that the ship and its crew were moved to another dimension or time layer to protect the secrets of the ancient civilization. This discovery was the culmination of the investigation. Although they found answers to many questions, Emily and Jake faced a difficult choice whether to try to return the Neptune's wanderer and its crew, risking the disclosure of ancient secrets, or to leave everything as it is, keeping the knowledge of the ancients safe. Conclusion. After much discussion and reflection, Jake and Emily concluded that the secrets they uncovered must remain undisclosed for the safety of all humanity. They understood that some knowledge is too powerful and dangerous for modern humans to possess. Nevertheless, their curiosity and thirst for adventure remained unsatisfied. Upon returning home, they shared their discoveries with a limited circle of trusted colleagues, omitting the most dangerous aspects of their findings. Their research was met with enthusiasm in the scientific community, and they received recognition for their work. But deep down, they knew this was just a small part of what they had experienced and learned. With each day spent away from the boundless waters of the ocean, Jake and Emily felt an increasing longing for the unexplored depths and mysteries they had left behind. Their minds were filled with memories of lost cities, ancient ruins, and secret knowledge hidden beneath the waves. One beautiful day, standing on the shore and gazing into the endless ocean, Emily said to Jake, "The world is so vast, and we've only seen a small part of it. There are still so many unsolved mysteries down there in the depths." Jake took her hand firmly, and his eyes sparkled with determination. "Then let's continue our exploration. Let each of our adventures open new horizons for us." They stood watching the sunset, which wrapped the world in a soft golden light, realizing that their story was far from over. Ahead of them lay new research, new discoveries, and new mysteries of the ocean depths. The story was ending, but the sense of incompleteness and unquenched curiosity pushed the heroes towards new adventures, knowing that each new horizon brings not only new knowledge but also new puzzles waiting for their explorers. As the last rays of the sun disappeared over the horizon, Jake and Emily remained on the shore, lost in thoughts about the future. They understood that each of their discoveries not only expands the boundaries of human knowledge but also touches on profound questions about the origin and fate of civilizations, about the interaction between man and nature. That night, sitting in their old, cozy laboratory, surrounded by maps and artifacts, they began planning their next expedition. They knew that each step into the unknown not only reveals new mysteries but also poses new questions about the moral and ethical aspects of exploratory work. How far can they go in their search without disturbing the balance of the world hidden beneath the waves? Jake picked up an old compass that he had brought back from one of his first expeditions and looked at it thoughtfully. "We're like time travelers, Emily. We open doors that have been closed for millennia, and each find is a step back in history." Emily smiled, adding, "And each step forward towards understanding ourselves and our place in this world." They both realized that their journeys carried not only scientific value but also deep philosophical meaning. Under the rhythmic flicker of an antique nightlight, they continued working on maps and records, planning routes, and discussing hypotheses. The night flew by unnoticed, but fatigue was not felt. Ahead of them lay new adventures, new challenges, and undoubtedly, new discoveries. Thus, in search of answers to eternal questions and in pursuit of new horizons, Jake and Emily continued their journey. Their story was far from over, with each new chapter promising new amazing discoveries and unexpected twists of fate. And in this endless pursuit of knowledge lies the true essence of the human spirit, an indomitable desire to seek, discover, and understand the unknown.